Hello, is this me?
This is you.
Hi. Rather not give my name. I'm calling from North Carolina. So I'm.
How about I
active
call
duty
you
military.
Jeff?
Jeff, that works.
Jeff from North Carolina. What's on your mind?
So I just wanted to. I've been trying to call in for a couple of weeks now. Wanted to talk about a few different things with regard to like left politics and how it relates to the military, and also how hilarious these attacks against Tim Walz are, and how the military in general on the enlisted side kind of views him as ridiculous with regard to his military career. Specifically, there's this interesting trend I've been noticing with regard to, I've been in for about a decade now, an interesting trend with regard to the kinds of people that are enlisting. Mm-hmm. Increasingly, it's becoming like progressive-minded people that are filling up the ranks, not necessarily like the officer class of people or the non-commissioned officers. But those people are becoming more and more movable. I've actually managed to, using a lot of clips from your guys' show, pull a couple of guys out of like alt-right, the Jews are behind everything kind of thinking.
Nice.
Yeah, it's actually been really, really uplifting a little bit for me, because like going to work and having conversations with these people is insane sometimes. But I think it's a really positive trend. And I think a lot of times the military is in certain ways a testing ground for social policies that come out like 5-10 years later. For example, like we have socialized medicine in the military, air quotes, socialized medicine.
Integration too. I mean, that's another good example.
Yeah, no, exactly. Integration. The military reacted really quickly to social changes with regards to gay and trans people. Later, obviously, they weren't great for a long time, but the military is really good on a lot of stuff. And there's been a lot of really interesting, I can't really get into the specifics of a lot of the stuff because I'm not sure you guys want to hear a bunch of acronyms.
Yeah.
But there's been a lot of really interesting and what I think of as positive trends towards not necessarily like a social justice kind of thing, but like social justice lifestyle thinking, kind of pulling that conservative mindset out of a lot of the younger people that come into the military, because a lot of them are dumb. Not that they're intellectually inept, just like they're not politically developed. They're 17-year-olds and 18-year-olds.
Yeah, American education and media. There you go.
Yeah, exactly. Like the amount of times I've had conversations with people and they have like no idea what their state capital is or branches of government or like who the current president is absolutely hilarious. Anyway, but increasingly they're caring more about politics and they're interacting more with it, which I find really positive. So I'm a voting assistance officer. I'm one of the guys one of my additional duties is ensuring that soldiers that want to vote can do so from their home states, because all of these different states have all kinds of crazy regulations with regard to how you register, when you change parties, how you get a mail-in ballot, a lot of that stuff. And most people in the military don't exercise the right to vote. But more and more I've been having conversations, especially with the younger group of people, of them like eagerly wanting to put in their papers so they can actually vote in this upcoming election. And it's been, for me, it's been really awesome to see this kind of change, because a lot of times the military gets sort of disparaged as like a bastion of conservative style thinking. And in a lot of ways it kind of is. It's very technocratic. But it demographically is sort of a slice of like the entire country. And as the country becomes more progressive or more conservative in their style of thinking, you see those sort of trends appear in the military. And it's nice. It's really nice to see that kind of social change. I think it's an indicator of positive things to come.
So, Colin, I have a question. We have a listener of the Left Reckoning, Joe Snuffy, who's also in the military, and I've heard a similar thing from him that regarding the Walz pick, that guys are really excited. I'm curious if you think that's like one of the how that's going to play out. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. The fact that, for one thing, sergeant majors are like incredibly respected in the military because they're the most senior NCO rank. And at any given time, there's only maybe like 1,000 or so of them in the country or in the military. So they're like the guys. They're the senior advisors to all of the higher level officers.
Right.
And they're the that institutional knowledge. There's the sense that they've seen some shit. Sorry for cussing.
No.
But the Tim Walz pick 100%. And then to see the right's reaction to the Tim Walz pick has absolutely driven a lot of younger people out to be more interested in the politics of the current election specifically. But it's also kind of gotten them more interested in what he's talking about, which I find really encouraging. That the whole thing with regard to like, oh, he retired as a master sergeant instead of as a sergeant major. It's like, okay, well, that happens literally all the time.
All the time.
The dude like if you don't go, like I just had 4 of my soldiers, air quotes, retire from their first contract as E5s, as sergeants. But they didn't get to hold on to the rank with regard to their retirement pay because they didn't go to the like leadership course the Army requires, because the military will give you a rank a lot of times because you're in a position or you're filling a role, right? And you receive that pay and you're given those duties, but in order to like maintain that rank past a calendar year, you have to go to a certain leadership school for that rank. And he just didn't end up going to that school. And retired. Because he retired.
Yep.
Right. And the idea that, oh, you completed 24 years of service and retired and you're a bad soldier. You stolen valor. You didn't, you didn't serve your country right. All that nonsense. And it's like, it's in a way, it's sort of demoralizing, and it kind of shows their asses a bit because, like, the right doesn't care about people, and it especially does not care about the lives of the military. And it's just sort of is like showing their face a bit, I think, to a lot of people that are.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but just to say, like, the young people joining the military at this point too, like, I mean, what were they born in? 2000 and or they wait. 2005, 2000. I can't do math on the fly, but this is like the
2005.
The end of the Bush, the end of the Bush era, right? The tail end of the war on terror, and like that's just a historical understanding for them that was an absolute disaster. So that dynamic is fascinating.
Years, yeah, exactly. Well, in their formative years, it's interesting to see the sort of age gaps within the military. All of the people that are like the hardline sort of psychos are retiring or getting forced out. And they all maintain like higher ranks at the moment, but they're aging out of the military because the military, for one, won't keep you past the age of 60. And for two, unless you're like rank up within a certain time frame, then they just go, okay, sorry, like you are retiring. And so it's an interesting sort of dynamic to see these younger people of a certain rank versus older people of the same rank, and the dichotomy in how they view stuff like Iraq or Afghanistan, how they view
Gaza.
education or social welfare, Gaza. That was a huge thing, honestly, for the young people. Kind of, not saying I'm trying to radicalize everyone in the military into some kind of socialist revolution. Personally, I don't think violent revolution is the way to achieve socialism, but whatever.
But when it comes, it's nice to have the military on your side.
Yeah.
Right. Well, no, exactly. Like, the military has to be at least sympathetic. Otherwise, they'll just stomp it down or turn it into something horrible.
Well, Jeff.
But a lot of them.
Go ahead.
Yes. I was going to say, a lot of them. Yeah. One last thing, and then I'll let you go. I know you've got other stuff to do. Or two last things. With regard to Gaza, 100% has radicalized a lot of young people in the military against the way that the government is using the military and against sort of right-wing style politics, that reactionary train of thought. It's made them more politically aware, 100%. And the last thing I want to say, left is best. Thank you guys all. I've been a long time listener for years. I've only ever called in one time before this, and you guys are amazing. I love giving your guys clips to people, and please keep fighting the good fight.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. You too.
Thanks for the call. That was really fascinating. And, it just also, it's encouraging to see, and this IM is also great here. Chicago, Steve, we really need to reinvest in the idea of civics and civic life. If we get hammered by neoliberalism, and it's a big part of our politics is so broken and partisan, that's why I'm encouraged by the Walz pick. I can't remember a more civically minded individual at the top or on a presidential ticket certainly in my lifetime, but somebody who doesn't have any investments in the stock market because he was in the military and then has his teacher's pension.
And hasn't went to law school.
Yes.
Can you imagine?
Yeah, I know.
A government official who's not like a C-tier lawyer? That's crazy.
It's insane.
Is that allowed?
Or a consultant.
How can this country survive? I mean, look, I don't want to cast too much aspersions at lawyers. A lot of great lawyers listen to this program, and the French Revolution was in fact largely legal people. But look, we need to graduate to our farm labor folks.
Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.